We're talking about engaging in sex acts.
You're listening to Slutty Society, a podcast exploring sex, sexuality, and all things in between.
In sex acts. We're talking about engaging in sex acts.
Hey loves, what's up? I'm your host, Sheila J, and I am here to explore sex, sexuality, and all things in between. Thank you for being here to listen. I hope all is well. I'm just getting over a really bad cold, still a little congested, so bear with me if I run out of breath at times. But I feel like I am blowing dust off of my mic. It's been a minute for sure. Life is moving, life is forever changing. If I can be honest, I have been so overwhelmed. I lost one of my brothers recently, and I have been working through my feelings surrounding his death. Man, life is so fucking precious. I keep reminding myself of that. We have to be thankful of every day that we fucking exist. Now, another change since I last had an episode is my adult son has moved in with me, which parenting a young adult, it can be tricky to navigate, to say the least. You have to approach things differently, give advice without telling them what to do. And I am learning to listen more, say less, and hope that my guidance sticks. It's a balancing act, and I feel like my performance isn't the best in the circus it has become. No, it's just an adjustment for myself. It's an adjustment for my son, and slowly things are coming together. Patience is key here. But yeah, lately I've had so many different feelings, so many emotions. It's been a lot. I'm trying my hardest to give myself some fucking grace, you know? And I'm actually proud of myself for not losing my mind. I'm proud of how well I've been processing all of these feelings. For a really long time, I would say the majority of my adult life, I've been pretty closed off emotionally, sometimes to the point where I could go numb when it comes to feelings. If emotional suppression was considered a true skill, I used to be a master of it. I believe processing so much in therapy over the last several years has been one of the healthiest things I've done for my life. As time goes by, I truly see the rewards. And I'm not trying to be one of these assholes that speaks about therapy as if it's a new trend or fad, because it's somewhat marketed in that way these days. And there are a lot of people that use therapy buzzwords for the wrong reasons or as a form of weaponization. But when I tell you therapy saved my life, I mean that shit literally. I have broken through so many walls that I had up. I've healed deep, dark, fucked up wounds. I'm this version of myself that I never thought I would be, that I never thought I would get to. You know, I have been thinking about the fact that I'm also way more comfortable with being vulnerable, especially this year in particular. I believe it's pretty common for a lot of people, including myself, to have this fear of vulnerability. Personally, I was someone who, in the past, I perceived being vulnerable as a weakness. If I'm vulnerable, I'm easy to take advantage of, or if I'm vulnerable, there's a level of control I have to give up. If I'm being honest about it, when I think about those negative perceptions surrounding vulnerability, they come from things like past trauma, from fear of rejection, shame, fear of abandonment, expectations in society that influence how, if, or when we should express emotions. And I've gotten to this place now where I'm not letting those things affect the way I show up in the world. I no longer want to let those things hinder me from being authentic when interacting and connecting with other people. I no longer want to have this fear of people hurting me. Yes, people can let you down. Yes, people can disappoint you. But I no longer want that to stop me from or make me cautious of cultivating relationships. I can admit, and I'll share with you that I know I have missed out on certain people in my lifetime because of the way I viewed vulnerability. I used to isolate myself. I used to never let people truly get close to me. I also recognize that in the past, I allowed bad experiences with individuals to affect new experiences. The old me would shut down, say, fuck this shit. I'm done trying with people. I fucking give up. Who I am now, if I have those bad experiences, I think, okay, what did I learn from that experience? How can I do better on my end? Or what can I change in other situations going forward? I'm at a place where I truly appreciate the genuine connections I have. They are rare and hard to come by in our current state of society, which this is the perfect place to pivot to the opposite of genuine connections. So I deactivated my Instagram for the 1 millionth time. I would say I'm a below moderate user when it comes to social media. I tend to take a few month-long breaks, pop back up for a little bit, then I've had enough. Get me the fuck out of here.
Help me! Help me!
I guess I would compare it to the feeling I get directly after watching porn, right after I come, when I click Pornhub off my screen so fast, just disgusted with myself. Even though moments prior I was scrolling through and watching Brazilian ass eating videos for a good 30 minutes, vibrating the shit out of my pussy. It's similar with social media. I'm into it for a hot minute, then as soon as I get too many dopamine rushes to my brain while using it, I switch to wanting no parts of it. I'm definitely a person that thinks about the disconnection from reality that forms for people who spend a lot of time online, and just how everyone's online experience, it's forming a different individual reality depending on what's in your algorithm. So, what you are experiencing, what online content influences your views, that differs from the next person. That differs from what I experience. You know, when social media first started, it was presented as this shared experience. And now that experience has become very siloed. We're moving further and further away from real life, organic experiences. Everything is fucking content now. Attention, no matter if it's good or bad, has become its own economy in a sense. And I don't think anyone, including myself, is exempt from being pulled into those things, especially if you start to spend more time online. I've personally learned to set boundaries when it comes to social media in general. Outside of my mini deactivation breaks, I'm not following a bunch of pages or celebrities. I barely even accept new follower requests. And when I meet people or when I meet new people, especially over the last few years, I'm not asking them for their Instagram name or even providing them with mine when they ask. I usually say something like, oh, I'm not really on there like that. And I change the subject, redirect the conversation. I know a lot of people view followers as a symbol of status these days. In reality, none of this shit really matters. I really hope a day comes where it no longer exists, and I hope I'm here to witness that. I want to go back to the before times. Take me back to when the world felt real, where people felt real, please.
Amen to that shit.
Now, speaking of the online world, or maybe something online adjacent, this summer I found entertainment in the neighbors section of my Ring app, which I never paid attention to it before. So, if you're someone who has the Ring doorbell or any Ring cameras in your home, you have access to this app. And in the neighbors section, to me, it's almost like Facebook without the daily Dear Diary status updates from some person you went to high school with. Instead of people you know or somewhat know, it's random people within your surrounding area, in your neighborhood. Everyone is basically talking about the things that are going on in the neighborhood, or they're showing videos from their Ring camera. So I'm in Portland, Oregon, not a ton of crime. We might have to worry about an occasional unhoused person. Maybe there is someone who's tweaking on heroin, meth, fentanyl. Most of the time, they are harmless. Now, I will say there's a lot of hiking that happens here, and if you're someone like me who participates in hiking, I personally think you have to be mindful of serial killers. I do take a knife with me when I hike. Here on the west coast of the United States, specifically the states that align the Pacific Ocean, you have Washington, under that is Oregon, and then California is directly below Oregon. Just a quick geography lesson for you. You're fucking welcome.
You're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn today.
But these are ideal environments for serial killers. Lots of dense forests, significant amounts of vegetation for someone to hide in or hide bodies in, hide your body in.
Whoa, calm down.
In the past, I don't ever think I thought about serial killers to the extent that I do now that I live out here.
What? Child. Anyway, so
That aside, Portland crime, it's not too bad. The stuff people post about in neighbors in my area, it isn't what I would consider serious things from my experience living in other cities. But the people in Portland on this app can be very dramatic at times, which it makes scrolling through the feed in neighbors hilarious. I find it all entertaining, and it's what I do in bed at night after I masturbate. I wash the cum off of my hands and then I scroll through neighbors. You know, outside of sexting, it's my adult bedtime story.
oh yes.
The little things in life bring me joy now. Life is hard. You have to find happiness however you can. Also, you have to find things to look forward to, which my current gym has me looking forward to something I never thought I'd be into, soccer, or I think it's football for most of my non American listeners. Now, I'm not a huge sports person. I'll go to games or I'll watch them if people invite me, but I don't necessarily follow any of that shit. But my gym, they've been playing old games from the World Cup in the early mornings. So I typically warm up on the treadmill before I go to weights, and there are, of course, several large televisions in front of the treadmill section playing these soccer games. I don't know if it's watching those really toned thighs run across the screen or the fact that people are playing from all over the world and my pussy is an equal opportunist, meaning I find myself attracted to people from all different types of ethnicities. Maybe it's a combination of both, but I am in heat at 5 something in the morning watching these soccer games while I run on the treadmill. It's the men's games, the women's games. I'm starting to remember the names of certain players. I should have started watching soccer a long time ago. I feel like pretty soon I'm going to be watching some sort of soccer roleplay porn. And ironically, part of the World Cup is going to take place in Seattle next year, which isn't super far from me. It's about a 2 hour, 2.5 hour drive, 45-minute plane ride. If I can be there, I will be. I'll be in the crowd, not knowing who's winning or losing, but I'll be full of lust, wet in my seat.
Get some help.
All right, loves. We are now in fall, my favorite season, and I am a pumpkin spice Halloween horror bitch. I love it all. But since it's been some time since my last episode, I want to spend this one catching up on how my summer went and what's been going on with me. Okay, so I experienced a little deja vu before summer started. Once again, I am on the outs with Engineer Bay. Right before summer, we were laying in bed after having sex. He sits up abruptly and blurts out,
I think I want to get married again.
I've mentioned before he's been married once. Now, he brought this up out of nowhere, marriage, and I was like, okay, why are you saying this? Where's this coming from? You know, we were having a good time. 15 minutes ago, he had me on the edge of the bed. He was eating me from behind. We were having a happy moment. But he goes on to say, I want this to be serious.
Honestly, I see myself married to you, married to you, married to you, married to you.
Loves, internally, I am malfunctioning. Alarms are blaring in my head. I'm trying so hard to keep a straight face. You know, I think we could have talked through this, but the biggest issue I have with my situation with Engineer Bay, or had, is that he lets certain feelings build up and fester. Then, out of nowhere, he has these random outbursts. I truly believe if these outbursts, if they didn't keep happening, if they weren't an issue, we would have gotten to a real relationship. In this incident, he brought up marriage and then it went left super quick shortly after. And we've talked about this many times. We've had so many conversations about communication, about not expressing things and letting them build up. We've talked about it to the point of exhaustion. I'm definitely far from perfect, but where I'm at in my life, I cannot ignore that pattern. It doesn't mean he isn't a good person. I know he also struggles with some cultural expectations as a first generation American of immigrant parents. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure to fit a certain standard, especially when his first marriage did not work out. There just appears to be some stuff he needs to work out within himself. And I think we are on two different paths in this moment. You know, I also find myself thinking about the fact that I keep going through this experience where I clearly say marriage isn't for me, and people still try to push it onto me, or they try to change my mind, or maybe they hope I will change my mind. I could scream, I don't want to get married from the top of a mountain. I could tattoo it on my fucking forehead.
He's just going down with the ring out on his knee, and I just kick that shit to the fucking moon. Point at it.
Yet the topic keeps coming up. So I was actually having this conversation with my friend Mike over lunch not too long ago. We were discussing dating, marriage, and so on. And he said something like, don't you worry about being alone, which is definitely a narrative that is embedded throughout society, the fear of being alone. I think society has done a disservice to us. We're often taught that we need, that we have to have, we are required to have this person to complete us, to fit a certain standard, or that having this person is some sort of achievement. Yet many people will go through life never knowing what it means or how it feels to be complete with themselves prior to committing to someone else. But, anyways, circling back, the topic of marriage and the outburst blew up my situation with Engineer Bay. We haven't communicated since. And I'd like to take this moment to tell you about one of our last experiences. Let me tell you a story. A few months ago, I was out to dinner with Engineer Bay at this lounge. While we were out, this woman comes over, compliments us on how good we look together. She was very attractive as well. She ends up sitting on the couch that we were at, and we talked to her, hung out with her for a little while. When we were leaving, we ran into her again on the elevator. She asked where we were going to next. Engineer Bay responded home, and she said, "Do you want company?" He immediately looks at me. I look at him and nod. Then he tells her, "You're welcome to come too." So we ended up going to his house with this woman. When we get there, he puts on some music. I'm sitting there being my normal laid back self. The woman begins to dance. Eventually, she's dancing really close to me, and then she's dancing on Engineer Bay. I'm watching, I see the chemistry, and I say, you know what I'd really like in this moment? I would like to see you two kiss. Without hesitation, they do. So I'm watching them kiss, I'm getting turned on. Then the woman comes over and kisses me. She then whispers in my ear, "Do you guys want to have a threesome?" Which, I can't lie, I thought about it. It sounded good, but there was something I've been wanting to do for some time now. So I tell her, I would really love to watch you two have sex, if that's okay. She looked confused at first, asked me if I'm sure or if it would be weird. I let her know, not at all, go for it. I sat and observed him fucking her against the wall, then on the other end of the couch, not too far from me, and I loved every bit of it. I loved hearing him make her moan. I loved watching the faces she made while he was inside of her. And I loved the way he looked over at me now and then, locking his eyes with mine while they fucked. That part made me so wet. Once they were finished, the woman gathered herself, thanked us for the fun night, and she left. Then I started to head up the stairs to the shower to calm myself down when Engineer Bay pulled me down to the bottom of the staircase. He grabbed me by my thighs, lifted up my dress, and ate my pussy through my panties. Good times, loves, good times. All right, so it was goodbye to Engineer Bay, and I went into my hot mama summer. I dropped my daughter off at the airport to go spend the summer with her dad in early June, and I swear, every year when I do that, I feel sad. I feel emotional when we arrive to the airport. But let me tell you, once that plane takes off, once that plane is in the air, I am excited. I'm on a high. It is the most bipolar experience ever. Then there's basically a movie montage in my head of all of the fun shit that's going to happen over the summer. I'm on a beach, I'm packing for another trip, I'm moving from hotel to hotel, I'm walking around exploring different cities, just doing whatever the fuck I want. Honestly, I think I get the most excited about walking around my house in just my panties when I'm home alone. No shirt, no bra, no worries, which if that isn't on a t-shirt, it definitely should be. I fucking hate wearing bras, but anyways, my hot mama summer started off nice. I started dating someone, not exclusively, but we were filling things out. I guess I can call him Lawyer Bay number 3. We talked a lot. We had nice communication. He was smart. He was funny. I really enjoyed hanging out with him. And he liked sexting. Now, if you're someone who has listened to past episodes, you know that I love sexting. It's something I'd say I'm pretty good at. And actually, I think I'll take this opportunity to share some sexting from my phone with you. Let me do a little sexting theater. To be clear, that is theater spelled Theatre, the British way. I am sophisticated and shit, you know. But Lawyer Bay number 3 says, I want you to be my slut. You're going to let me put myself in every hole too. After I nut in you, I want you to take my dick out of you and put it in your mouth to finish me off. I want all of the nasty shit you can imagine. I want you to treat my dick like it's the only one in the world. I want every inch of you and I want every inch of me inside of you. And then I say, would you like me to get on my knees and beg for it? Or maybe that would be best right before you come. I'll get on my knees, look you in the eyes while licking my lips and beg you to come all over my pretty fucking face. After you come on my face, I'm going to run my fingers through it and lick it off of them, one by one, while staring you in your eyes. And scene. I mean, we were having sexting conversations back and forth like this all throughout the day, almost every day. And I was walking around wet as hell. Eventually, we had sex. I wouldn't say it was the best sex. I wouldn't say it was the worst. It was kind of in between. It was definitely missing the energy he put into the sex messages. I think it had potential. Maybe if we would have had more of it, it would have gotten better. But one day, I was on a hike, minding my business in a good fucking mood, right? I happened to look down at my phone and there's text from a number that wasn't in my contacts. And it said, hello, Sheila. And I'm telling you my full government name, my first and last name. It said, this is so-and-so's wife.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
His number is... What's your relationship with my husband? Turns out, loves, Lawyer Bay number 3 was married. And all I could do in that moment was laugh to myself. I wasn't laughing at his wife, but I was laughing that I ended up in that situation. Like, what the fuck? Now, I didn't reply to her, and he ended up reaching out to me the next day, apologizing. He told me about this disconnection that they have, how he can't be his full self around his wife, and he has to be a certain version of himself, blah, blah, fucking blah. But he wanted to continue to talk. He wanted us to be quote unquote
Friends.
which we know what that really means, right? I'll tell you, loves, I am way too dope to be someone's side bitch. So that was that. Door closed on lawyer bay number 3. Now, moving on, over the summer, I did a pretty good amount of traveling. I went to LA a couple of times, and on one of my trips, I ended up hanging out with a person I've known for a really long time, many, many years. He actually hit me up letting me know he'd be in Portland. And this particular friend, he works in the music industry. The artist he works with was currently on tour at the time. I let him know I wasn't going to be home. I was going to be in LA for a little bit. Ironically enough, the tour was scheduled to go to LA after Portland. So cool, let's meet up, catch up, hang out. Now, I was staying in Manhattan Beach on my trip, and we decided to meet up at a spot in Hollywood. And if you know anything about the LA area, everything is very spread out. It was a 60 something dollar Uber from where I was staying to where we met. Both ways, by the way. So round trip, it's about $120-ish, give or take.
God damn.
So I take what should have been a 25-minute Uber, but ended up being about a 40-minute one because of traffic. But my friend and I meet up, have a really good conversation for several hours. It was pretty similar to the last time I saw him when he was touring and he came to Portland. This is a person I've always had a platonic relationship with. It's never been romantic or sexual. And around 11 p.m., let me tell you, I'm at the age now that once it's 11 at night, sometimes even before that, it's as if I've been given an animal tranquilizer. My body starts to shut the fuck down. It takes everything in me not to fall asleep, which is why I love early activities. But I start to feel tired while we are hanging out, and I'm pushing through. This is someone I don't see often, so I'm really, really, really trying to be present and not fall asleep. So I somehow make it to a little after midnight. I eventually let him know, I'm probably going to go back to where I'm staying at. It's getting late. And he starts talking to me about going to hang out at his hotel. He says we can watch a movie. I let him know I'm exhausted. And he says something to the effect that he can entertain me, which instantly makes me think he's trying to fuck. So, in a very direct manner, even though I knew the answer, I asked, "Are you trying to have sex with me?" And he says, yes, he would like that to happen. But ultimately, I ended up making the decision to decline. I headed back to Manhattan Beach in my 60 something dollar Uber, which, by the way, the Uber driver I had was trying to fuck me as well. He was asking me hell of questions and offered to take me out. Penises did not want me to sleep this night. Anyways, I finally ended up in the bed I was paying for on my trip. Got some good penis-free rest. But that interaction with this friend, it made me think about making the decision to have sex with a friend. Over my lifetime, I've had my share of friends try to have sex with me, both men and women. I think a lot of people can relate to or have experienced a situation that led to that or almost led to having sex with a friend. The choice to have sex in general can be for various reasons. Sometimes that reason can be for a deep or loving connection, to feel closer to someone. Maybe the sex is solely for stress relief. I love having sex when I'm stressed out. It's a great way to decompress. Decompressing on a dick is good for your health, if you ask me. But maybe the reason for sex is simple, because it feels good. But what drives someone to want to have sex with a friend, to potentially risk a shift in the dynamic of your relationship? specifically where your relationship has been platonic. There hasn't been an inkling of sexual elements involved or romantic intimacy. Deeply thinking about this, the first thing that comes to my mind is safety. There is, or there should be, some level of safety within a friendship, right? In theory, you're comfortable with this person, they represent familiarity, you trust them, and sex with a friend might appear to be less risky versus meeting someone new, or even less risky than sex with a past sexual partner. Of course, we should have and want safety in all sexual situations. But choosing to have sex with a friend just because it's safe doesn't necessarily guarantee the sex is going to be good or that you're going to have compatibility in that area. It doesn't mean you and this person who is your friend are going to align sexually. An experience comes to mind where I once made the decision to have sex with a platonic friend, which didn't turn out well. I instantly regretted it. Seriously, this person was inside of me, and I remember thinking, what the fuck did I just do? During this experience, our sexual energy did not match. It felt more like we were two virgins who saved ourselves for marriage, finally made it to our wedding night, and had no clue what the fuck we were doing. Not on the same page at all. See, my energy is kind of fiery. I like sex that's passionate with a dash of nasty, a hint of pleasurable pain. I need a specific mix. Now, my friend, this platonic friend I chose to have sex with, his energy during sex was calm. Everything he did was soft, very gentle, light, like doves were going to fly through the sky, which is fine for him. People like what they like. I'm not judging him. But calm and gentle doesn't get my juices flowing. I need a good neck grab, subtle hair pull, look me in my eyes, and tell me you love fucking me. Then smack my ass to provide me with some reassurance. So I tried to essentially guide him. I tried to teach him in the midst of the act what I liked or what I didn't like. We couldn't get it together. It just wasn't happening. Our sex was bad. Crazy enough, I was the one who initiated it. Now, I didn't all of the sudden get feelings or an attraction to this friend. It was more of a right place, right time situation. I'm not gonna lie, I was just really, really horny. It was a time period where I hadn't had sex in a few months. And I feel like anytime I lead with that, letting you know I hadn't had sex in a few months beforehand, you should know something is going to go wrong. But I hadn't had sex for a few months. And on this particular evening, my friend at the time invited me to this gathering at his place. Was a very social person, extremely extroverted. I'm not sure how we became friends because if I was any more introverted at the time, I could have been perceived as a borderline sociopath. Anyways, I'm at this gathering at house. I know a few people there, people I met through before, but the majority of the people I don't know. So I'm off in the corner in my own little world. There's this moment where I look up at a moment where my vagina was having a mind of its own because it had been dying of thirst, just confused, disoriented, dehydrated. My vagina goes rogue. It signals to my brain, we can make this work. Fuck it. Then my brain, what an easy hoe at the time, my brain becomes a total pushover, starts agreeing with my vagina like, he's a good guy. It's safe. My vagina and brain link up that night, and I end up having the worst sex. I took a risk that could have changed the dynamic of our friendship. Our friendship was now either going to survive and keep moving accordingly, or it might have been negatively impacted. And as a friend, I knew we had to talk about it and have a conversation to talk about expectations going forward. As awkward as it was, I had to be honest with him about my feelings, which at the time of our conversation, he seemed to respect, he seemed to understand. I don't have feelings for you. This shouldn't have happened and it will not happen again. I'm thinking problem solved. Then the next couple of times that I saw, he tried to kiss me. He was very handsy. He also tried to cockblock some dude from talking to me during a group outing. I found myself reiterating the same shit we had already talked about. And something about me, I guess it's a pet peeve. I don't like repeating myself to people, especially when it comes to things I don't want them to do. Regardless of the fact that we had sex that one time, regardless of the fact that I was the one that initiated that sex, regardless of the fact that we were friends, it didn't mean he was allowed to disregard the boundaries I set. Inevitably, our friendship ended. I assumed having sex with a friend was a safe choice. It turned into a lesson for me. I guess you could say the moral of the story is don't fuck your friends. But really, if you're going to have sex with a friend, I believe clear communication is probably best beforehand, before the sex. And you have to be aware that you are potentially risking a shift in the dynamic of that relationship with them. You have to be prepared for that. I don't think there's any way around it. All right, speaking of friends, I had a friend say something to me recently, something that kind of made me feel like, damn, do you not know me? But this friend says to me, thank goodness you aren't into women anymore. I'm happy you grew out of that phase. Okay, so first, using the word phase to a bisexual, that's just,
It's unforgivable.
I mean, I know I've been leaning closer to dicks lately, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I am still bisexual. This isn't something I just decided to be overnight. I didn't just wake up and say, hey, I think I'm going to eat some pussy today. And it isn't something I can turn off. It doesn't work like that. You know, the world just can't seem to figure us out, bisexuals. What do we like more, dick or vagina? Can we really be in a relationship with one gender without needing to be with the other? Greedy motherfuckers, pick a side, right? The ignorance is so real. I've talked about some of those misconceptions on here before, and I find that a lot of times when people don't understand something, they tend to generalize it instead of actually learning about it. They end up creating inaccurate assumptions, stereotypes, biases, conclusions to sort of justify prejudice or conclusions to justify their lack of understanding. I've heard many of these inaccuracies in reference to my bisexuality in my life. And speaking as a bisexual woman, people often fetishize your bisexuality, which continues those stereotypes and biases surrounding it. Fetishization of bisexual women has pretty much been normalized in society, and I'm labeled as someone who is promiscuous. I'm labeled as someone who is untrustworthy. It's interesting too, because if you look at the statistics, bisexual women have higher rates of rape, sexual violence, sexual harassment, which aligns with how we are perceived in society. And people seem to fixate on the sexual side of my bisexuality. The overall consensus is that it's solely a sexual thing or that my bisexual identity exists to satisfy a male fantasy. It's reduced down, it's often disregarded, which can be very isolating in a sense. The reality is, I am attracted to women, I am attracted to men, I am capable of being in a romantic relationship with either one. And that attraction to women, it isn't less than the attraction to men. That attraction to women isn't an act that I do for men. Of course, I'm very open minded sexually. I've talked about many experiences where I've involved both genders, but doing that isn't a necessity when I'm in a romantic relationship. It's more of like a plus if my partner is into those type of experiences. But if I was in a relationship with someone who wasn't into that, that's okay with me as well. It's not a deal breaker. I believe I'm always going to have to navigate through these false narratives surrounding my bisexuality that exist in society. It's one of the reasons I choose to talk about my sexuality so openly on my podcast. Now, as long as I can remember, I have always attracted both men and women. And with women specifically, I don't know if I give off an energy that alerts them that I am bisexual or what, but women approach me almost as much as men do. And the summer, a place I traveled to a couple of times was to Denver, Colorado. And on the first visit to Denver, I was on my second evening out. I got dressed up to do one of my favorite things. I took myself out to eat, out to dinner. I know some people are weird about going out to eat alone, but honestly, I don't mind it. I enjoy it. So I end up at this Mexican restaurant downtown called Three Margaritas. It's on 16th Street in a very busy area with a lot going on. And I sit at the bar, order some shrimp ceviche. I'm feeling cute. There's this Mexican band playing in the middle of the restaurant, and some people are up dancing by their tables. It's an all around good vibe. At some point, this woman comes and sits next to me. She asks if I'm waiting for someone. I laugh and I tell her, no, I'm just chilling. And she goes on to say that she came over to talk to me for her friend who is a man. She actually was at a table with a group of people. She goes on to tell me that the group at her table thought I got stood up for a date because I was all dressed up, sitting by myself. And she says, my friend, he wants to talk to you, but now that I am up close, now that I am here, I think I want to talk to you instead. And I'm not going to lie, she was cute, she was pretty. She invites me to their table, and long story short, I end up hanging out with this group of friends the remainder of the night. They take me to a couple of other spots. Super cool people, right? But the entire night, this woman, the one who introduced me to the friend group, she is flirting with me, which wasn't a big deal at first. At first, I didn't mind the attention. But we get to this one point at the night where all of us women go to the restroom. And I had on one of those shirts that snaps in the vagina area, and I couldn't get the shirt to snap back. I'm in the bathroom stall taking forever. All of the women that are waiting for me, they're like, what's going on? What's taking so long? And I let them know I cannot get this onesie shirt to snap. So this woman, she offers to come into the stall to assist me. Like she is thirsty to come help me snap the shirt back in between my legs. And I'm like, no, girl, I got it. That made me pause because it was very forward, and I just met you a few hours ago, and I'm getting the feeling that you want to stick your fingers inside of my vagina in this restroom. Then, the remainder of the time we were out, she was right by my side every time I looked up. I mean, she was side kicking it, okay? I found myself a little flattered, but also a little bit scared. By the end of the night, she is asking to come to my hotel room. She is trying to kiss me. I politely tell her no. I make it to my hotel room. I go to sleep. And then when I wake up, and I'm being dead serious right now, I woke up to multiple paragraph length text messages, multiple voicemails, and missed calls from her. Just completely insane for someone not even knowing me a full day. And I was telling a friend about this woman. I actually was texting him while we were out that night, and he was like,
You should just let her come to your room. You should have sex with her. Who cares?
but someone being overly thirsty about me, someone I literally just met acting that way, it definitely made me cautious. What if I would have had sex with her and then the next day she's wearing my skin? I end up on a murder mystery docu-series on Netflix, killed in my hotel room because I ignored the signs, because I ignored the red flags. And then you know what the fucked up part would be? They always have a friend of the victim talking on those docuseries. So the same fucking friend that encouraged me to sleep with her would probably be getting interviewed on episode 4, pretending like they didn't contribute to my bad decision making.
I don't know what would make Sheila bring back a stranger to her room. She was smarter than that. I just can't believe it.
Oh, you motherfuckers.
In all seriousness, going to Denver, it was such a good time overall. And I'll get to my second trip back to Denver that happened at the end of summer here in a minute. But I have to say, it is a city that I can see myself visiting often in the future. I really fuck with Denver. Okay, moving through summer, sex had not been consistent for me. It was kind of non existent. I just wanted to have a great sex. I don't believe that's asking for a lot, but I do know great sex. It isn't the easiest thing to come across. We all have different views on sex. Everyone's body is different. There are people that aren't confident with their sexuality. There are people that have internal hangups about sex. There's just so much to navigate when discovering new people or new potential partners. And my version of great sex might be different than yours. But when I think about what great sex means to me, really looking at it from a deeper perspective, not just what physical actions happen during sex, but more of what allows the sex to be great. What combination of things do I need? What combination of things do I want? And 3 words come to my mind. The first one would be attraction. I want to feel drawn to my sexual partner. I want to actually feel the energy between us. And when I say that, I mean energy that's almost like a force that's able to pull you, right? But at the same time, that energy is able to influence you to gravitate towards each other. Then my second word would be connection. There should be a feeling of ease that exists. I want to feel a genuine closeness that allows vulnerability with my sexual partner. I want that to generate trust. And for my last word, I would say creativity. I want to feel possibility without restrictions. I want there to be an openness to new and different sexual experiences. So, attraction, connection, creativity, that's what I personally crave when I think about great sex. So, unfortunately, in this current moment, my sex life is still not consistent. And you know what that means? The porn watching has increased. My browser history is back to being filthy as fuck.
Oh, you nasty.
When I'm not having consistent sex, I find myself watching more porn than usual, so much porn. It's almost turned into a hobby or a daily pastime, a routine I fall into. I'm watching my favorite videos, I'm finding new videos to add to my favorites. But you know what I dislike? And this has to happen to other people as well. But I dislike when I'm watching porn, when I find a new video with a new person, and that video doesn't include their name. See, when I find a person I like in porn, I will search for other videos with their name in it, so I can have some variety, some options when I masturbate to them. And when I find someone new and their name isn't listed, I'll immediately go to the comment section and see if there are any weirdos that have searched the internet to figure out who this person is. And maybe 9 times out of 10, someone in the comment section does. They figure it out, and I'm so thankful for their excellent creepy detective skills. But then there's that one time, which happened to me recently, where everyone in the comments is like, "Who is that? Name, can you find her?" And the comment section just turns into a porn adjacent game of Where's Waldo. I find myself going back to the video, hoping that someone spotted her somewhere else that she's found. Masturbating every time I come back to that video, of course, but then I open the comment section right after I come.
I will look for you. I will find you.
Every time I'm like, someone please solve this mystery. My fantasies depend on it. This woman in this video, she is just checking off all the qualities I like when I watch porn. She's innovative. I mean, the way she moves on this dick, I am obsessed. She's curvy, but has a natural body. Also, her face is so fucking beautiful, and the facial expressions are on point. I could probably come from just looking at her face. And a quality that is kind of rare for me to find in porn, one that I am very particular about, is I can actually watch the video with the sound on. She isn't doing all of this unnecessary theatrical over the top moaning. Her sounds are subtle, they match the tone of what's happening in each moment, and she makes me believe that she is actually enjoying this dick. And hey, maybe she did this video as a one-time thing, but the selfish part of me hopes that's not the case.
Because I'm kind of low-key obsessed at this point.
Look, loves, since I'm on the verge of a potential drought, I'm going to need you to do something for me, okay? I need you to PFMP. Pray for my pussy. I'm not asking for a lot, but for you to reach out to someone next to you, hold your neighbor's hand, close your eyes, and pray for my pussy. I'm calling on all of my prayer warriors out there. Stop whatever you're doing and take a moment and pray for my pussy. I am, trying to be strong. I'm trying to erase the doubts in my mind that this pussy will go to waste. So please open your hearts, open your minds, and pray for my pussy.
Well.
Hallelujah. Woo. I like to hear. Amen.
Oh man, I definitely need to collect my spirit. And although things are looking down for my vagina right now, I did have some pretty good sex on my second trip back to Denver this summer. I went back towards the end of the summer and I ended up inviting someone to meet me there. I was already planning on going, but I was like, fuck it, let me see if this person wants to join me. So over the summer, I reconnected with someone, but timing was never on our side. He was in a long-term relationship for many, many years, and we always kept in touch on social media. Then his relationship ended, and we started talking quite a bit outside of online. Let's just call him Pen Pal Bay. So, Pen Pal Bay met me in Denver. I was kind of nervous, a little anxious at first, but everything between us just clicked and I felt extremely comfortable. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of scary how easy things were for us, how easy it was to connect, and how much we still had in common. And the entire trip was good. We did a lot of things, a lot of random things too. Like, we randomly came across the Shroom Outdoor Market in the River North Art District. I felt impulsive and I took a shroom gummy. The River North Art District, it has a lot of street art all over the buildings. It's a very colorful area, very vibrant, the perfect place to do shrooms. Now, Pen Pal Bay and I, we had a pretty strong attraction towards each other, and his dick, it wasn't necessarily new to me. I had it once before, long ago. But one thing that was a consistent factor is that Pen Pal Bay has a pretty big dick. It's eggplant emoji worthy, and it's the good kind of big, right? It hits all of your spots and beyond, but it's not a dangerously big dick. It's not a dick that should be considered a murder weapon. Like, have you ever seen a dick where you look at it and you're like, well, how is that going to work? How do I get oxygen inside of my body if that goes down my throat? If I insert this inside of myself, will I qualify for a wheelchair through my health insurance company?
Yeah, that one's too big. You don't hear me say that often, but...
When I was about 21-ish, I encountered a creature of such and I had to politely decline for safety reasons. There was no way I was letting half of an arm go inside of any hole I own. But anyways, as someone who hadn't been having consistent sex prior to this trip, I almost felt like my pussy had closed up when Pen Pal Bay first put his dick in me. He had to stretch me out a little bit, but once he got it in there, I had to try really, really hard not to come too soon. It was nice. Plus, he is a shit talker during sex. I'm a sucker for his type of shit talking, nasty, a little bossy. It was making me crazy. Something about the manner in which he spoke to me during sex, it made me want to be so submissive, like I was fucking hypnotized. And when he fucked me from behind, the depth in which his dick fit into me,
no, no, she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready.
it was a good thing though. It was amazing.
I'd give it a 10 out of 10.
Now, one night on our trip, we went out, then we went back to the hotel. We took an Uber. While in the back seat of the Uber, Pen Pal Bay put his hand up my dress and he starts playing with my pussy, right? He did this the entire ride while talking to me about random stuff we would pass on the drive. Like, oh, look at this place. We should have went there. That looks fun. And I'm sitting there trying my hardest to respond. My responses were super short and unenthused because I was too busy trying not to come from his fingers. I'm not quiet when I come. It's hard for me to hold that in. So I was just like, yeah, uh-huh, I agree. Very dry and vague as he's having this conversation with me rubbing my pussy in the back seat of this Uber. Finally, we get back to the hotel. We go up to the elevator. We're kissing in it. Then when we get to our door, he pushes me up against it. He puts his hand up my dress once again. He's talking shit, kissing on my neck, playing with my pussy while we're in the hallway. At some point, someone starts coming down the hallway, and I don't know, I panic and I quickly unlock the door so we can go inside the room. It was kind of funny, but definitely turns me on. Then there was another day where he's at the sink, and in the hotel room, there was an opening where the sink is. And if you're at the sink, you can look through this opening and see where the bed is, and vice versa, right? So he's at the sink. I'm laying in the bed with this short black lacy nightgown thing on. I'm feeling a little playful, and I position myself or position my body so he can see me through the opening. I lift up the nightgown and I'm touching all over myself, playing with my pussy while he watches. Then we fucked. Man, overall, it was a really great trip. It was very memorable. Honestly, I could do an entire episode about it. To this day, I find myself masturbating to flashbacks. All right, loves, before my thoughts get too consumed with Pen Pal Bay's not so dangerous big dick, let me go ahead and switch it up and get into some in the media.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you some breaking news.
In the media is where I find an article, news report, or story related to sex and or sexuality. Now, this first one comes from New York. It's about a man who lit some sex toys on fire, and he didn't just catch his house on fire, he caught other houses in his neighborhood on fire as well.
I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
The article says a Staten Island man allegedly caused a 3-alarm blaze that ripped through his neighborhood when he set fire to a pair of sex toys, including a rubber vagina, outside his family home. Harry Torres sparked the flames of passion around 1 p.m. on a Wednesday in West Brighton and scorched his home, 2 neighboring houses, and 2 cars on North Berger Avenue. It's not clear why the 37-year-old lit the intimate aids ablaze, but his barbecue prompted officials to hit him with a slew of charges, including arson. I started the fire, Torres allegedly admitted to cops. I was in the backyard of my house and I lit 2 sex toys on fire. The fire was under control by 4 p.m. on that Wednesday and required 6 hand lines and 1 tower ladder to extinguish the flames. While one toy was a rubber vagina, it was not clear what the other sex toy was. There were no injuries reported. Torres was charged with 4th-degree arson, 2nd-degree reckless endangerment, and 4th-degree criminal mischief for the alleged antics. I just have a few questions here. I need answers. I really want to know, what kind of sex toy was the second toy? Was it a dildo? Was it an anal plug? Why did they disclose the flaming rubber vagina but not the other toy? I'm really intrigued about the secrecy surrounding it. I feel like once you share someone's using a rubber vagina, you might as well let us know what else they use, right? Now, my next question, probably the question most people are wondering, is why did he need to light the sex toys on fire? Why not just throw them away? Sir, you have torched your entire neighborhood because you couldn't do something as simple as put something in the garbage or even recycle.
That makes no fucking sense.
All right, next. Police find naked man in Lowe's display shed with Vaseline and phone. So this happened in Louisiana, and according to the police, the call came in as a witness reported there was a naked male inside of one of the store's outdoor tool sheds, which are typically used to show customers various storage options for purchase. Officers arrived at the scene and began searching the line of sheds on display. It wasn't until the fourth or fifth shed that they located the suspect, lying on his back, pants around his ankles, using an open container of Vaseline and an electronic device while allegedly masturbating. With tasers drawn, police say the officer ordered the man to pull up his pants and roll onto his stomach to be handcuffed. Police say the man complied without resistance. The man reportedly admitted to his actions, telling officers he was watching YouTube.
You sure about that?
I would have loved for them to verify the browser history in that moment. I really want to know what he was into. What was he watching? What made him take this Vaseline into the shed and freely masturbate? All right, let's keep it going with the public masturbation.
Also new at 4, Porter Township, Indiana man arrested, charged now with sexual misconduct in the presence of a minor and indecent exposure. Valparaiso police say 73-year-old Thomas Ursum was taken into custody shortly after he left the McDonald's on Northland Drive. They say that he exposed himself to others within the play area of the restaurant. A police social worker is being offered to help anyone impacted by what happened.
Oh, okay. I thought the audio was going to be longer, but...
Real talk, you gotta be ashamed of yourself. Old as you is.
And I didn't realize they still had play areas inside of McDonald's. I'm honestly shocked that that's still a thing. Okay, let's see. How about a story from overseas? British Airways crew were mistakenly booked into a sex dungeon in Milan. Staff were supposed to be staying in a hotel with a very similar name. So it looks like their boss booked them into the sex dungeon, which has the name Motel MO.OM, and there's a nearby hotel that's MO.OM Hotel. But at least 12 staff were made to stay in the seedy hub, which boasts a vagina-shaped spa bath. A source stated the crew were booked into a pay-by-the-hour sex hotel. They were confronted with bondage sets, mirrored ceilings, human dog cages, and leather harnesses. I'm going to be honest, I probably wouldn't be mad or that upset if I was a part of this crew, but that's just me. I'm kind of freaky. Staff reported constant noise and witnessed drug deals and prostitution, as well as a 24-hour orgy. There were adult workers outside propositioning staff. Crew even reported suspicious fluids in their room, which made their skin crawl.
Gross.
Okay, never mind. I take back what I said a minute ago. I do not want to stay at this particular sex dungeon. Despite the mix-up, there were no reported delays to the BA flights. Well, that's good. All the passengers got to where they were going on time. The airline said a small number of our crew were moved to an unapproved hotel due to availability issues with our usual provider without our knowledge. We are urgently investigating to prevent a repeat. Hey, maybe this was a team building experience. Maybe the manager thought you guys could use some relationship building, some bonding, and what better way to bond than in a sex dungeon? All right, of course, I have to share a story from the great state of Florida.
Oh man, that's Florida right there. Yeah, dang right.
Woman whips out adult sex toy and batters ex over his Instagram following. Look at Instagram causing relationship issues. Police arrest a Florida woman on domestic battery for attacking her husband with an adult sex toy. A woman pulled out the toy and began striking her husband with it when he threatened to call the police during an argument. Cops were dispatched to a Fort Pierce residence in reference to a disturbance in progress involving a 52-year-old man and a 50-year-old woman. The husband told the police that his wife was well behaved a day earlier, and the victim told the police she had been drinking alcoholic beverages, resulting in her acting disorderly. She stated she started the argument because of who her husband follows on Instagram. At one point, the wife began to get in the husband's face, which he believed was to antagonize him. When the man warned her that he would dial 911, the woman allegedly pulled out an adult toy and began to hit her husband with it. The police arrested the woman at the scene and booked her into the county jail on a misdemeanor battery count. Now, this isn't the first time I said it, and I'm sure it won't be the last, but we have to stop using sex toys as weapons. They are for pleasure, and maybe at times, in some circumstances, they are used for pleasurable pain, depending on the item. But they are not to be used to give someone a black eye. They are not to be used to cause blunt force trauma. Enough is enough.
Y'all killing me with this.
All right, loves, before I wrap this up, I have to shout out the new countries that I now have listeners in. So these 2 countries are now showing up on my list on my data and analytics that tell me where I have listeners at. So thank you for listening to those of you in Morocco and Turkey. Yes, I love it. This makes me so fucking happy. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, bye, loves.